Hey guys, and welcome back for another lesson on surds. I hope you joined us for our introductory lesson where we simplified surd terms. Today we're going to be simplifying surd expressions. My name is Miss Danielson, and let's get into it. Hopefully by now you should be fairly familiar with algebraic expressions and algebraic equations. So you should recognize that terms are the parts of an expression which are separated by either a plus or a minus sign. In algebra, like terms refer to terms with exactly the same variables, including the powers. For example, here I've got an expression with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 terms, all separated by either plus or minus signs. And in this expression, some of these terms are like terms. For example, 4a and minus 7a. They're both terms involving the letter A. A squared, however, is not a like term with these two because it's got a different power. What other terms are alike in this expression? The positive 3b and the negative b, again, are two terms which involve the variable b. And positive 6ab and positive 8ba involve the same variables as well. Usually we put those variables alphabetically so that it's obvious that they're the same. So we can group these like terms, however, the minus a squared cannot be grouped in with any of the other pairs. So simplifying this, I group my a terms together, 4a minus 7a, and my b terms, positive 3b minus a single b, plus 6ab plus the 8ab, and then finally our minus a squared, because it can't be grouped with anything else. Simplifying that, I've got a number of a's, a number of b's, a number of ab's, and, of course, my a squared term. We can simplify surd terms in a very similar way, so long as they share the same irrational part. For example, 4 root 5 plus 7 root 5, they have the same number under the square root sign. So we could call these like terms, and we could group these together. We could say that we've got 4 plus 7, that's 11 root 5. Now, hopefully that was obvious. So let's try something a bit more interesting now. These two surd terms do not look like terms. However, you may need to simplify your surd terms first, and then you'll discover that they actually do have the same irrational part. If you joined us for our previous lesson, our introductory to surds, you'll understand what I mean. If not, check out the description box down below. I've linked it for you there. Let's just carry on then. The square root of 75 can be written as the product of a square number and a non-square number. Same with the square root of 27. The square root of 75 is the same thing as the square root of 25 times the square root of 3. And the square root of 27 is the same thing as the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. Even before I finished simplifying this, you should notice we've got the same irrational part under the square root sign. 25 is a nice square number, so it square roots nicely to be 5, and 9 is a square number, so it square roots to be 3. So we've got 5 root 3 plus 3 root 3, two like terms that we could group together. 5 plus 3 is 8, so this makes 8 root 3. I bet some of you thought that couldn't be done. Well, sometimes it can't be done, but we always need to try. For example here, the square root of 28 plus the square root of 58 plus the square root of 18. Let's first simplify each term as much as possible. 28 is the same thing as 4 times 7. 58 is the same thing as 49 times 2. And 18 is the same thing as 9 times 2. I've split each of these surd terms into their factor pairs, where one of those factors is the greatest square number I could think of. 4 can be square rooted, that's 2. 49 can be square rooted, that's 7. And 9 can be square rooted, that's 3. So I've got 2 root 7 plus 7 root 2 plus 3 root 2. Now each of these terms has been simplified, but they're not all like terms. 2 root 7 cannot be grouped with 7 root 2. They need to have the same number underneath the square root sign. So my last two terms, 7 root 2 and 3 root 2, could be grouped together, and 7 plus 3, that's 10. So that gives me 2 root 7 plus 10 root 2. And that's as much as I can simplify this. Now, I know you're likely to doubt yourself if you come to an answer like this, so just double check your answer, make sure that your working makes sense, but this is our final answer. We're done. In this next example, just make sure that you're going about this the best and easiest way possible. When you simplify these surd terms, make sure you simplify them fully. That is, look for the highest squared factor that you can divide each of these terms by. Let me just show you how you might mistakenly do this. For 1,800, for example, I might say that that could be written as 100 times 18. And I could say that 162 is 9 times 18. And 128 is 4 times 32. And that would be true. And I factored out a square number in each case, so I could simplify that. That would be 10 root 18 plus 3 root 18 plus 2 root 32. Then I could try to group the like terms together, the ones that involve the root 18. 10 plus 3 is 13, so that's 13 root 18 plus 2 root 32. And I would think that I'm done. But look carefully. I haven't simplified each term fully. 18 is the same thing as 9 times 2. And 32 is the same thing as 16 times 2. So I've got some more work to do. Now let's simplify these surd terms again. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. So that's 13 times 3 root 2 and 2 times 4 root 2. Multiplying that through, that would be 13 times 3, 39, and 2 times 4, 8. So 39 root 2 plus 8 root 2. And as we see, we now have like terms. We can group them together. 39 root 2 plus 8 root 2. Simply doing 39 plus 8 is 47. So 47 root 2. Now that was a lot longer than it needed to be. Done correctly, this would have been much quicker. 1,800 could actually have been written as 900 times 2. 162 could have been written as 81 times 2. And 128 could be 64 times 2. There you see I've already got like terms. The square root of 900 is 30. The square root of 81 is 9. And the square root of 64 is 8. 30 plus 9 plus 8 gives us the 47. And they all have the same irrational part, so it's 47 root 2. See how much easier that was? So that just goes to show that it definitely does pay off to stop and think before you get started. Let's get on to the practice now. So go ahead and hit pause so that you can copy down all of these questions. Stop and think before you work it out. Remember to simplify the surd terms before you try to group them. And if they don't seem to simplify fully at the end, just make sure you go back over your working. Okay, so go ahead and hit pause now, give that a go, and hit play when you're ready to take up the answers. I hope you had a chance to hit pause because here come your answers. For questions 1 through 6 and questions 7 through 12. Now, how did that go for you? Hopefully it went well. If not, please leave me a comment down in the comment section of any difficulties or doubts you might be having. Otherwise, well done, keep practicing, and I'll see you soon.